Hello. Hello. Welcome to Everyday Ordinary Extraordinary Women. I'm Martina and I'm here with Christina, and we are your podcast hosts. We are deep divers and avid students of life and powerful facilitators for healing. In real life, I'm a life coach specializing in parent and women empowerment, and I'm also a sound healer.
And I'm a massage therapist, intuitive healer, who loves to blend my massage therapy with energy work to provide customized holistic services. Martina and I both love playing with crystals, essential oils, angelic Reiki, intuitive guidance, and oracle decks when we work.
And we were inspired to create this podcast after pondering on this question. What would the world look like where we can be inspired by every person? Usually, we are so quick to compare and judge ourselves and others. And when we do that, everybody's losing. Depending on my point of view, I can either feel small because I come out lacking, or arrogant and dismissive because I feel snobby, superior. You pick the word, right? And those are the only two options. And neither of those options make us feel good. So here's our thought. Someone else's normal, so someone's everyday normal is someone else's extraordinary. So judgment comes from first impressions. And we invite you, the listener, to go beyond first impressions and see the magic everywhere. There's inspiration at every corner, in everyone, if we're willing to look. And today we're here with Twyla. So Twyla, just go ahead, introduce yourself, tell our listeners who you are.
Hi, everybody. I'm Twyla Dragonborne of Twyla's Enchanted Spiritual Insights. I had to think about how I wanted to tell people how I was or who I am. So I thought that the best way to do this would to be kind of just tell people a little bit about what I do. So I help people find their voice through their spiritual ability and allow them to take control of their path and empowerment. My job here on earth in this lifetime is to light the candle in the darkness to help you find the way out. I do this through readings, healings, classes, exercises, and one-on-one spiritual mentorship. I am a psychic medium, and I use the connection with a person and their spiritual team to help them find their light again and shine as brightly and as authentically as possible.
So powerful. So
Beautiful.
when I met you, there's like the you're a little bit like a pixie, and I love that. I really love that because, of course, that's me, right? So I'm just like, oh, okay, this is really cool. But underneath that, there is that loving power, I want to say. And I so appreciate that about you. Like that, really that oracle, right? That wisdom that resides within you that is just beautiful, powerful, inspiring. I don't know, there's so many more words to it. So thank you so much for being here. Now, if we really knew you, what would we know?
If you really knew me, you would know that I find it really important to connect with everybody with where they're at and give them the kindness that they're not giving themselves. Which is such an experience because we very often treat ourselves in a way we wouldn't treat others, and having somebody that can connect with you in that space wherever you're at and allow you to be kind with yourself is just so important. And I feel like that's the one of the main things that is a huge part of who I am and what I do and living daily life and going through life is just to meet everybody where they're at and maybe open them up to a kindness that they didn't think they had in that moment.
It's such a gift to truly see people. I think most of us go through life not being seen, or we don't think we're seen. But when you are truly seen and people reflect that back to you, it's such a gift. So thank you for being who you are for this planet. It's really, really, really awesome and beautiful. So I'm excited for this podcast.
Okay. I
But
always
I'm gonna
tell
start.
people,
Yeah,
huh?
go ahead.
I always tell people that we always think if has anyone seen The Princess Diaries?
Yes.
So do you know in the first movie when she's like, I'm invisible and I am wet and in the terrible place? I always tell people we always think that we're Princess Mia, but in that moment, if you think about it, everybody is watching her.
Yeah.
So you really are never truly unseen.
Yeah. Or alone. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good. I'm gonna throw the icebreaker question at you. Tell us a funny, silly, or embarrassing story about yourself.
Oh boy. Um, let's see. Um, okay, I will tell a funny story, which I think is funny. But there's like a whole setup. So my husband and I went on a trip to Ithaca, New York, which is like, who knew Ithaca, New York existed, right? And we were driving in the car. We were meeting some friends there who they just had a baby, and we're on the phone with them, and we're going to stay at this really old bed and breakfast. And I'm telling them that I'm seeing this guy with this mustache and this like big floofy hat, right, with a feather. And I'm like, this guy is like like a general in like the Civil War or something. And this is his house. And this whole building is going to be like super haunted. And my husband's like, yeah, okay, we'll have to research it, right? And we're on the phone with my friends, and my friend is a very like logical, like in the science part of the world, and is like, how would you know this? Like, you can't prove this. Like, what are you even talking about? And her husband works in a library, so he's even like more logical and like needs the fact. He's like, when we get there, I'm gonna look this all up and we're gonna have scientific proof so that you can see that it's not correct. And I'm like, okay, but we're going to get there and there's going to be a picture of this dude on the wall and we're going to be told how haunted this building is. And I'm like, so all of you need to go into your rooms and claim the space as yours. Otherwise, you're going to be haunted the whole time we're there, right? So we get there, we meet them in the parking lot, we go in the building, and lo and behold, here's the guy I described on the wall. Then we're all laughing, right? And I'm like, I told you guys. And they are just so laughing because there's like a whole history about it. And it's the whole history that I like literally said to them word for word. And my very logical friends are like, this can't be real. This is not real. Like, there's no way. Did you look this up before you came here? Like, I'm like, no, when would I have time? Like, and my husband is just on the floor rolling because this happens to him all the time, like all the time. I'll be like driving down Main Street and I'll be like, so and so, and this happened in this building. And he'll be like, I have to look that up. Right. So now it's kind of a running joke that every time I say something, he's like over here looking at up and stuff. So we all get checked in, and I tell everybody again, you all need to claim your rooms. You need to claim the space, claim it as yours. Let the energies know that you're not here to like take over or cause problems. So we had a connected room with another friend of ours that was also meeting us. And she's like, you're crazy. You don't know what you're talking about. And I'm like, okay, the door, if you need us, knock on the door. Like, we're sharing a door with you. And she was like, no. And I'm like, okay, but I'm going to tell you that you're going to be taught that that's no way to respond in this situation. And I said, and they're going to be funny about it because you think that it's not real. So we all go to bed and we hear all this yelling and screaming from her room. And we're like, oh my God, what is happening? She's not answering our text messages. We're like, okay, I guess we'll find out in the morning. Like, she clearly doesn't want our help. So only one that didn't claim the space. We get up the next morning, go to breakfast, and she's like, oh, I didn't sleep at all. And I was like, oh, really? Do tell. And so come to find out, the TV was going on and off. Her blankets were being pulled off. Things were like tickling her feet. The remote was being thrown. The lights were flickering all night. So I'm like, well, maybe you should go in the room and like claim your space. She's like, okay. So we're laughing about it. Talia's laughing about it. I'm laughing about it. Finn's laughing about it. And we go through the day and like don't really think anything else of it. And that night, she's like, I'm gonna open the door and so that we can like talk to each other. And I'm like, okay. And she opens the door and there's the guy with the hat, right? And the feather, just laughing at her. And I'm like, he's like, well, what are you going to do about it? And I'm like, well, I could do something, but she needs to learn to use her voice. So, and so I said to her, listen, the guy is here. He's laughing at us. He thinks it's hilarious that you refuse to claim this space as your own. And she's like, you know what? I'm going to do it. So she gets on top of the bed and she goes, this is my room for the next 24 hours and you need to go. And he's like, oh, I've been told I got to leave, right? Because we have that power to like put that boundary there. And we're obviously like, we've all been through this several times. And I'm like, okay, but listen, before he goes, you need to get off the bed because if you don't, you're gonna like trip on your pants, right? She had these long pants on. And she's like, no. I'm like, okay, don't believe me. So we're starting to like leave and the energy's starting to leave. And what happens, right? She trips on the comforter that's tangled on her pants and she falls backwards and her pants like came down. And I'm like, I'm just gonna close the door now. And stories like this happen all the time. And the more time I spend with friends and stuff, the more that these things like happen around them. And it's just become this kind of running joke to just do the research.
Yeah. Or have fun with it. Or trust you, right? Like,
yeah.
Take the coaching, clear your room first, claim this.
I was going to say, listen. Yeah. So let me ask you, when did that start? When did you first?
I was born this way. And I stayed in the broom closet for about 30 years. For me, when I was a child and I would express these things, it was met with a lot of hostility and a lot of judgment and a lot of, this is not what normal people do or how normal people behave. And I always tried to like mold myself into what I thought people expected or wanted me to be. And in the end, I ended up losing so much of myself that it took about 25 years to figure out who I was again. And once I did and started like just authentically speaking when things came through or when experiences happen, I found that I stopped feeling so judged or so different. And it just kind of was, it was what it was, you know? But it's always the first time I really noticed that I wasn't like other people or I wasn't quite what was defined as normal. I was 6 years old. And that's a lot to deal with as a 6-year-old.
So were you actually seeing dead people at 6 years old?
Yeah, my first experience with a spirit was watching my grandfather's spirit leave his body when he passed away.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's so hard, right? Because everyone's like, no, you didn't. Right? Like,
well, and if you, was it your family that didn't believe you, or was it like the wider environment, or both?
it was a little bit of both. There was a lot of things that led up to that event. Like I told my parents when my grandfather first got sick, Grandpa's sick, he's not going to be with us much longer. And they were like, no, don't worry, that's not how it is. And I'm like, no, I can't explain to you, but I know this is a fact for me, right? And the day he passed, I was like, I don't want to go play with friends, I want to spend my day with Grandpa, and he's not going to be here later tonight. Like, and they were like, no, have a normal life, go out and play with your friends. So I was playing across the street with my friends, and I looked at them at, I think it was like 6-7 o'clock, the sun was setting, it was the middle of summer, and I looked at them, and they had like learned at this point that I would say weird things that didn't make sense to them, and they would just kind of like brush it over. I stopped what I was doing, I looked up at them, and I said, oh, I'm gonna have to go inside in a minute because my grandpa's dying. Who says this to other 6-year-olds? Like, that's probably so traumatic for them. And not 2 seconds later, my parents called me back into the house because it was time. And then when it happened, I had a very different experience than they had during that transition from life to the afterlife. And so my parents kind of, everyone was so in their grief. I was in this little bubble, right? Where I had a separate interaction with him outside of his body. And I kind of got this closure that they didn't get to have. And I got to watch him go to the other side and kind of step into the light. So it was like my parents and my family couldn't grasp that closure, that concept. So it was very much so dismissed.
So let me ask you this, even though like the adults and people around you didn't understand or sometimes believe what was going on, how was the experience for you? Was it like a calmness because it just was this knowing that you had, or was it uncomfortable because you didn't understand it?
I would say it was a calmness. I understood that what was happening was a transition, and I understood that no one was going to understand, and that it was very important for me to just be present in that moment. You know, when he passed, I was sitting on his lap when he passed, which was also very uncomfortable and strange to feel that physical end. And then he like sat up, and I was like, whoa, hi, you know? And he like got up out of bed, and he kissed my forehead, and he told me he loved me, and he told me that whenever I need him, I could call on him. And he touched my shoulder, and I watched him walk over to my grandmother and touch her shoulder and kiss her cheek. And then I noticed this really intense feeling of calm and warmth. And I noticed this bright light coming from the doorway. And I was like, oh, okay, Grandpa's going to go be with who he wants to be with, which is his family, his people, in whatever version of the afterlife and happiness and joy that he wanted to experience. And it got really, really bright. And I was kind of like, oh. And everyone was like in their own moments and in their own spaces. So it wasn't really like a noticed thing, but I watched him cross over, and he turned back and glanced at me and waved and blew me a kiss and kind of stepped through. And then it was like everything went back to the normal level of brightness. And I looked around, and it was just grief everywhere. So for me, it was a calming, warm, joyful experience, whereas for everyone else it was very traumatic, it was very loss based, it was very end of a connection. So it was different. I always tell people that was the moment I knew I was Belle. When you watch Beauty and the Beast, the opening song says that girl is strange but special, a most peculiar mademoiselle. And I was like, that's me.
love it.
And it's what a juxtaposition, right? It's like I mean, what a gift for you to feel all that love and all of that. And what a juxtaposition to see the grown-ups in your life grieving in that way. And, as a child, not being able to make sense of it, I imagine, right? Because it is like it's such a big, such different worlds of perception, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
It was exactly what it needed to be in that time for me to be able to grieve it in a 6-year-old way and mindset, where I wasn't feeling, it wasn't necessarily that, like, so many people have to go through the process of grief because it initiates transformation within them. But in that moment, that was my grief, that was my closure, that was my connection, that was how I could deal with it and be okay. And he knew that, and that was perfect for me.
So beautiful. So tell us about the time you took a chance for love. It might be romantic, it might not be romantic. When did you take a chance for love?
Oh, okay. A chance for love. When I met my husband, that was a big, big risk for sure. We were both seeing other people and we knew we wanted to be friends. And eventually we got to this point where it was either we kind of left the people we were with and we came together, or we kind of took some time and then let ourselves come together. And for me, that was a big risk because I was very much so at that point set in my life on being a crazy cat lady. I had the starter kit. I had the cat, the orange cat with all of the cat accessories. I had like a harness for my cat. I was like, cool, I can do this. I can be a crazy cat lady. This is perfectly fine. And love was something I hadn't allowed myself to really think about or give myself a space to think about. And my husband and I started as friends, and it became more, and it was this like very slow progression. And when we did come together, he had this, he said to me, he was like, so you're my girl now. And I was like, what? Hold up. We need to discuss this because that's a lot. And in that moment, it occurred to me that allowing someone in and allowing someone to see me as I was not as much of a scary thing as I thought it was. It just meant that it was going to allow someone to embrace me when I couldn't embrace myself. Mm. And that was the biggest risk and the biggest chance I ever took on myself.
Beautiful.
That is so big. Somebody, it's almost like somebody to hold you when you cannot see yourself, really.
Yeah.
Wow. Good for you.
But you still have a cat.
I do. I have 2 cats.
So you can have it all,
cats.
right? You can have it all. You can be the cat lady.
You can.
Have an amazing husband too.
Yes. My husband has feral cat energy, so it's perfect.
Woo!
It's right in.
Perfect. Yummy. So tell us, what's your superpower?
Ooh, my superpower. So I think my superpower is the gift of knowing, and I just know things, and I don't know how to explain or elaborate that knowing, but it allows me to make connections with people where the connection meets them in exactly what they need at that time. And it allows allows them to have a moment of growth and compassion and understanding for themselves. And I think that that makes such a huge difference, and allows someone in a space where maybe they're not really doing okay to have that moment to be not okay, with even just someone that can hold space for them in that time, and kind of get the love and support and compassion that they need. And I think that's a super huge superpower. And I wish everybody had that ability, because I think it would just create such a wave that would allow so many more people to fall into compassion and positive empathy, and step out of that judgment and superiority that we kind of all put on ourselves and everyone else.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So is that the quality that you would give people if you had a magic wand? Or is it something different? And you can have more than one, just saying, but
I think it would be a part of it. But if I had a magic wand and I could give everybody a quality, I think it would be whatever quality they needed in that moment, and would be individual to each of them. Because if you give just one quality to the whole, right, that might not be what each person needs, or it might not be what the collective needs to build more bridges, right? Everything is going to be about building bridges, connecting people, getting us out of this kind of self-based thought and into this community and self-based thought, where I think if everybody got whatever quality they needed in that moment, would expand in such a way that the ripple and waves it would create would give a wholeness that I think we lack as a collective and as a community and as a world.
That might be my favorite answer yet to this question, and one we've never had before. So I'm digging this answer. I almost see it as like dosing out adaptogens to everyone, right? It's like, and go do what you need to do in your body, and you go do what you need to do over there, right? Like you need a little dose of compassion, and you need some imagination, and you need, and yeah, right?
Could you imagine if every person got the healing they needed in that moment that they needed it most, and what that would do to the collective energy, and how it would shift this thought process and these belief systems and these energies? I just think that would be so amazing if everybody got what they needed in that one moment, even if it's only for a moment. That acceleration and expansion and that wave would just be so huge.
I'm sold. When we create that wand, I want to know.
Yes.
But then we also were talking about that every time we have this conversation, something about this goes out. So the wand is planted.
Mm-hmm.
We've just planted it literally. So yes, we're going into that world. Exactly. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Instantaneous healing is possible now. I like to tell that to all my clients every time I see them. I'm like, remember, instantaneous healing is possible right now. They're like,
Yes.
what? I'm like, just try it on. Try it on for the day. See what new opens up. Or I like to tell people to love a part of their body. Like, oh, you're having a pain in your IT band? Let's try loving your IT band today. Because normally we're like hating that part of our body that's giving us pain, right? But what if we flipped the script and just loved that part of our body instead? Like, what will be different? Who knows what's possible? So, yeah.
I love that. Just taking a moment to switch the emotion or feeling with something that is going on physically would shift and translate to so many other, like your mental state, your emotional state, and like, oh, I love that. Yes.
Yay!
I believe we never can love on ourselves enough, really, right? And most of the times we forget that we have a body. We just, We just walk around, and the purpose of our body is to move around our mind, and we only remember when something's aching, right? As Christina says, and it's like, oh, I didn't even know I had that part. Oh, thank you for being, thank you for saying hi, right? Thank you for bringing my awareness to you in a way. So
yeah, I can see that. I think that so many people get lost in this idea that it's just a body, but the body is just so much more than that. It's the customizable creative space of your soul existence in this specific lifetime. So if you view it as an expression of your soul, that creates an imprint and allows a connection with your body that is so important. Like, we forget that our body is it also needs communication. Like, hey body, I know you're sore today. What can I give you? Are you bringing something up through this pain? Do you need something supported? And like, there's such a disconnect, I think, with the body. And I'm like, oh, if we could all just learn to talk to our bodies like they were another person in front of us.
Yeah, yeah, it's good stuff.
so talking about the body, but it's also about the mind and the spirit and everything. What do you do to fill yourself up? Like, what fills you up?
A lot of things. I like to keep learning and growing, and I like to imagine myself as never quite full. And I say this because I want to experience more. I want to learn more. I want to know more. I get fulfillment and joy from watching people go through transformations, through coming out of the darkness, through my work, through learning and taking classes, through watching my husband become who he's meant to be. There's so many spaces that I find fulfillment. I think that it's hard for me to fully answer that question because I'm full, but I want more.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So I'm going to kind of expand on that with the next question. So if time and money weren't an option, who do you want to be when you grow up? Like, what would you, if there were no restrictions, no limitations, what would you want to be doing?
Me, but famous.
Exactly.
And I know that sounds kind of egoic and a
Nope.
little narcissistic at times, but I am who and what I always wanted to be. And if money and time and I had all the resources to do anything, I would want people to experience the journey that I've gone through to find this person and be this person, because I am everything I dreamed about when I was a child at this point. And that makes me so happy and brings me such joy and such life and such fulfillment that it seems like such a little thing, but it's such a big thing to, when I see other people, like if I look at a celebrity, right? Or if I look at another practitioner and I sit there and compare myself, and you kind of make yourself feel small, right? So I'm exactly who I want to be right now. I just want to be it more for more people to experience it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I had a girl who, well, she's a woman now. One of the young ladies that I used to teach in one of my art classes when I was like a teenager, told me recently, now that she's one of my clients, you are exactly who I'd want to be. and who I always dreamed about being, now, like if I was this then, I would feel more inclined to be myself then. And that was really, really profound for me, because it made me think, oh man, you sit there as a teenager and you're like, I want to be just like whatever celebrity, or right. So my dream as a teenager was to be a super cool witchy goth spell casting spiritual guider, practitioner, and that was like my whole dream. That was my goal, and I didn't realize it until recently that that is what I am, and that is what I've always been, and that is who I am. And so I ask people to take a moment and think about when you were younger. Is the person you are now someone that person would want to be? And if the answer is yes, then you've already fulfilled that goal.
So good.
I love when people give that answer. We had a few people say, me, just a little older. It's like I'm perfect the way I am. And it's just so beautiful when people can get that, right? And then stuff gets in the way every so often, because we're human, obviously. But really, like, claiming that space. I
Yeah.
am perfect, just
Yeah.
exactly as I'm supposed to be.
Yeah. I want everybody to feel that weirdness and uniqueness and being different or marching to the beat of your own drum is not a taboo idea, but an idea that gives you a permission to live freely and more really and truthfully. And that is what provides this joy and this love and this compassion that is so much so needed right now.
Absolutely. Self-expression is so limited right now. People just or everyone wants to be the same, right? I don't understand that. If everyone was the same, it would be so boring. So why do you want to do life the same way everyone else is doing it? I don't understand that. But I love that you're here to help guide people and to help them to figure out what their light is and what their path is and have fun doing it. And uh, so let's talk about your business. Tell us the work you offer and how people can reach you and all that stuff.
Okay. So the work I do dynamic energy healing, which is a customizable, unique to each individual client experience. It is kind of the basis for it is in Reiki and spinal flow, but it is a combination of many different techniques. And I do what your spirit team asks me to do. So that may look like we start with Reiki, but then when we get to the heart chakra, we're sitting there tapping on fears of persecution, abandonment, betrayal, releasing frequencies, clearing things. Um, it's such a unique experience. It's kind of hard to describe, because it is whatever you need in that moment, however you need it presented to you in a way that you can understand. And then the other work I do is I teach classes and do mentorship, and I do readings. So I like to kind of pair everything together, because we quite often have this disclarity when we're going through a transformation or an emotional time or a really difficult transition in healing. So having a reading kind of shows what's happening and why it's happening, how we can clear that, what maybe may need to be said out loud, what we may need to remind your soul of, or how to meet your soul in that moment to clear, give you your own guidance and kind of reclaim that power in that moment. And I would say that my business is very much so, again, lighting that candle in the dark, allowing the client to lead themselves out. I will provide the light, they do the work. And I think that's a magical, unique experience. And it is definitely a journey.
But a very, very, it's well worth it. Well worth it when you get to the other side. It may be a struggle when you're going through it, but when you pop out the other end of it, you're just like, ooh, I feel good.
Yeah, and you know, like it's always like that, right? We can hold the space, we can light the candle, but we cannot do the work for people, right? And it's so
Exactly.
misconstrued sometimes because people are like, well, you can fix this for me. I'm like, yeah, no, that's not my job, right? It's your job. I'll hold space. I'll walk alongside you. I cheer you on. I love on you. Sorry, that's as much as I can do, right? Now, let me ask you, is it online or is it in person or both?
All of the above.
Okay.
I do a lot in person, but I also make house calls. I deal with a lot of people who maybe can't leave their house or are not in a space they can leave their house. So I will come to you if you need. Remotely, in person, we have an office that you can come into in Richfield, Connecticut. Um, it's it is both, but more. I don't know how else to put it. Like if I have met people in a Starbucks if they needed. So if you're willing to make the connection and put an effort in, I'm willing to do the same.
I'm like, now I want a session with you. Woo.
Please come in. You know where my office is.
I know where your office is, yes, and it's beautiful. And you have crystals and you have essences and all sorts of interesting stuff. That's one thing that you didn't mention, right? You make essences for people, like you make, right?
I do. I make custom supporting blends, whether it be oils, bath mixes, smoke cleanses, teas, facial steams. Sometimes we are in a place where we need certain crystals, so I'll make a custom bracelet. We have, oh my gosh, we have a mini apothecary, we have a mini spell bar, we have a tea bar, we have crystals, we have um, rings. We have rings. So a really great thing that we have here that I think is so amazing that I haven't seen in a lot of other places is I make rings that work with the different acupoints and trigger points on the fingers. So it looks pretty, but it's also putting a pressure there that can help with physical ailments, emotional ailments. Sometimes it's just nice to have something to fidget with on your finger, help calm anxiety. We have a lot of stuff here.
Next time I'm either on the East Coast, I'm gonna have to plan a visit. It sounds amazing. Sounds amazing. Yeah. Ooh-wee. Yeah.
So before I forget, you can find me on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and then we do have a website as well. And you can also find me through Inner Health and Healing in Richfield, Connecticut. We have a really awesome opportunity here with Inner Health and Healing that we have supporting licensed therapists. So if somebody needs a therapist to come into a session, we can get that aspect as well.
Fantastic. So a lot of different ways to help people. So If you're in the Connecticut area and that sounds like something you're interested in, please check out all the information in the notes and reach out and see if that's something that interests you. Get in action and see what the lighter path in your life looks like. Twyla, thank you so, so much for bringing your incredible energy to our podcast today. I think Martina and I are both eager to do some work with you and see where it takes us. Yeah, I'm just excited to watch you blossom and get closer to that celebrity you and helping as many people as can possibly fit into your schedule, right? Because the more we uplift this planet, the happier everyone's going to be. So, yay. Thank you everyone for listening. Thank you for being here with us. If you loved it, please share with your friends. Please leave us a review. And please remember that you are extraordinary and you rock. Until next time, have a wonderful day.
Bye for now. Twyla, you get to say goodbye.
Well, thank you so much, everyone, for allowing me to be a part of your journey. Thank you for having me today, Christina and Martina. I am so grateful and so thankful. And I just want to say, I just feel like somebody needs to hear this, but you are not alone. What you're going through is just temporary, and it is something that is happening for you, and changing your process of thought around this is happening to me into this is happening for me is going to help you through it. And just wait till you come out on the other side. You are going to feel so much more connected and whole and so much more yourself. And I just want to let you know that you are not alone, and we are here and we see you and we love you, and you're going to get through it. Thank you.